Warframe is a beast of a game. You've got a whole host of activities, a complex set of systems that feed into those activities, a ton of different currencies, and not to mention an entire star chart to explore. Oh, and did I mention a whole bunch of Warframes, weapons, and companions to collect? To say the least, Warframe can be a bit overwhelming as a new player or even a returning player. So today I wanted to share with you a few things that you should know in the early stages of Warframe in hopes of making your time a little bit easier. The biggest thing people ask when starting Warframe is, what do I do next after completing the first mission? And honestly, the best advice is to make your way around the star chart, or at least start to. Grind out the nodes on Earth, Venus, Mercury, and Mars, and get comfortable with the combat in different systems within Warframe. There are also a few quests that are geared towards the early days, and if you have any trouble finding them, you can check the quest section of your codex out that is located on the main bridge of your orbiter. It's really tempting to jump into Syndicates as soon as they unlock at MR3, but I cannot stress enough how much I suggest waiting on those big main Syndicates that have the rivalries and alliances with each other until you understand that system fully and know what you want to get out of each particular Syndicate, as they have different rewards and items that you can get, and you don't want to miss out on something important by rushing it. However, the neutral factions you can get started on pretty much whenever you'd like to after you unlock them, as they will not affect those main Syndicates. It's natural to want to kill every enemy that you see in game, but honestly, for some missions it's not needed. Capture missions, rescues, spies, etc. are more of a do this and then leave kind of mission. So to save yourself some time, if you're in a mission like that, it's okay to stop killing them and just barrel on over to extraction once you're done. Please note that the major exception to this rule would be when you're doing a Void Fissure mission, as you have to collect a particular amount of reactant in order to open up your relic, and you get reactant by killing the baddies. So in those missions, kill the baddies, get the reactant, and then you can leave. Now, speaking of relics, let's talk about those for a minute. Warframe is fantastic in that it lets a new player start to potentially grind out the prime variants of weapons and characters early on. So you start to see yourself collecting different relics pretty much right away. And you can get, through the Void Fissure missions, the ability to crack them open and get yourself either blueprints or components to higher end items. Just note though that you don't have to do this in the early game, and it's totally fine to wait on it until you're more comfortable with the game itself and have some time under your belt. Mastery rank and Affinity aren't complicated and complicated all at the same time, which honestly is just the story of Warframe. The best advice while you're just starting out is to always have something to level up as you are going, as by leveling up new items, you give yourself Affinity, which in turn ranks up your Mastery rank. And you need Mastery rank in order to unlock missions, weapons, etc. So passively working on it until you figure things out is going to help you in the long run. Modding. Oh, modding. And no, not the kind that you do for Skyrim. Warframes, weapons, companions all get their power from mods that you can get in-game. What mods you need for what weapons or frames is more of a complicated topic than would fit in this vid, but while you start to learn the process, there is zero harm in using the auto mod button. You can find it in the bottom right corner of the modding screen by clicking into Action and then selecting Auto Install. It's a great way to help you start to visualize what mods might be useful and how they play into your frame or weapon. However, just make sure it doesn't become a crutch, and you do take the time at some point to work on modding. Learn to bullet jump. The game gives you a basic tutorial for it, but seriously, take the time to really learn how to do it so you get comfortable and it becomes second nature. It'll help you traverse the map faster, allow you to get to particular places that are harder to reach, and honestly, just make the game more fun. If you're super new, clearing out an exterminate mission on Earth and then just practicing in one of those bigger, more open-spaced areas is a great way to get started practicing. And if bullet jumping is giving you any trouble, a great starter tip is to crouch, look where you want to go, and then hit your jump button. Eventually, it'll just become really fluid and second nature, but just keep practicing. Now, this next tip is a bit of a hot take. Xcalibur is, well, one of the best frames in the game in my opinion, as he can do and handle pretty much anything. Literally, Xcalibur is useful against every enemy, is easy to understand, straightforward to mod for, and is just a damage-dealing frame. I cannot recommend enough getting him early on, either as your starter frame or grinding him out on Mars, as this will possibly make your time in Warframe a lot easier. And even as you grow your arsenal, you can easily always come back to X and use him whenever you're having trouble in particular areas that, well, he might be able to help you out in. And my last tip is arguably the most important tip, and that is to not rush this game. It's natural to want to play through everything really fast and see all the new content, but by doing that, you run the risk of not being able to handle some of the later content that you're trying to rush to. So take your time, get yourself a few Warframes that you can easily use and you understand, some weapons that you really like, and then dive into the harder and more complicated areas of the game. And there you have it, a few tips to get you started in Warframe. I do have other Warframe videos on the channel, and I'll link my Warframe playlist in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye!